I'm joking. All right,
Thank
let's
you.
do this.
Yeah. All right, so today I have Imad with me, and honestly, I don't think neither of us are like hosts or guests. We're both like
Yeah.
here to drop the masks, the hats that we wear, and share our stories in a really authentic way. So I'm really, really excited to sit
It's,
with you and recalling like how we got here, even like through our own journeys, through meeting you and being here. I think it's really special.
yeah, I'm very glad, very excited to be here and especially talking with you as a friend as well. We're always, whenever we connect, we just talk about interesting stuff. So I'm glad that this happened,
Yeah.
so we can take it out there as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to start with your journey. I mean, we were talking a little bit about how we came on the journey of like spirituality and healing, and you teach breath work amongst many other things. So if you wanted to recount that story of yours a little
Yeah.
bit.
Honestly, people are confused when they see my story because it has taken like a really narrowed path, and for me, like as I started as a physiotherapist 10 years ago. I've graduated, and working on the musculoskeletal system and helping people with their pain, doing these trigger points and stuff like that. But then this journey has led me into exploring and going deeper into like therapy and healing. And it's just because I have never, like, whenever I treat people, they always come back to me with symptoms, and they don't get long lasting relief. And honestly, that was the case for me because I had a lot of symptoms like gut issues and back pains and stuff, right? And it was chronic. It got better by just tackling the physical body, but it wasn't enough. Like, I knew that I had to go deeper in some way. And I've done like, I had an awakening where I figured that I did like a plant medicine ceremony, and I just realized that never like addressed my emotions and like the deeper layers of myself. So this is when I felt like, okay, I need to like address that. And since then, I realized how the suppressed emotions in the body, are really affecting and impacting my symptoms. So once this is addressed, once I was able to look into these, face these emotions, and release them, I felt so much better. So since then, I just wanted to dig deeper, and breathwork came as a modality to help me, to help me. That really helped me to release whatever I need to release, and to continue nourishing this path. So I've decided to get certified, and then I've learned other things on the way, and I've just integrated that into my practice. So it's just all about mixing and integrating everything that I learned throughout my therapy journey, also about trauma, and put it into one container. And this is actually reflecting my journey in healing. And I'm just sharing it with others, right? And since then, I've started to get like really long lasting results with people. Like, they're not coming to me with the same problems, and that's, for me, is much more fulfilling than just working on managing the symptoms instead of like going into root cause. So yeah, it has been quite a journey, like 10 years, and that's why I can understand like people are not still getting what is it that I do. Is it breath work? Is it therapy? Is it But it's actually integrating everything, and giving what the person needs. Like, I just look into what people need, and I just help them however I can in the session. I just meet them where they are, and we go as deep as they want. So
It's so important to meet people where they are. I would say that a lot of the times in certain modalities, people are taken to the deep end of a pool and they haven't even learned how to swim yet. So it is important to meet people where they are. When they come to you, they trust you, they feel like they can open up, especially because you are working with such deep emotions. It's not like you're working with surface level emotions. I mean, do you think that there is such a thing as like surface level and then like deeper emotions? Like, do you categorize them like that as well in
Yeah.
your practice?
Yeah, there's surface level emotions and there's deeper emotions. Sometimes people are carrying a lot of anger, but deep down there's grief. So, but they need to feel safe. And if they feel safe, they can really open up into to these deeper emotions. But they have to feel safe with someone, and we can access that. And usually when we go deeper into these deeper layers is when really like healing happens, because it's like they've buried it, right? And they don't want to show it. So anger can be something, a superficial emotion that's hiding the deeper ones, right? That's just an example of what can happen. So the safety is very important. So that's why it's important to also know how to hold space. Because we are in the space like coaches, healers, therapists. We always like to give advices for people and always like to try to help them. But sometimes when you just hold space and listen, I really feel like this is the key for them to feel safe, for them to express, and give them the space for that.
I feel like it also allows them to still stay in their power without feeling like they are being told who they are or what they feel and how they should live their lives. I feel like today on social media, like it's almost like no one knows how to live their life without taking advice from someone online.
Exactly.
It's so funny, like
Exactly.
here's how to breathe, here's how to eat, here's how to dress,
Yeah.
here's how to live your life, here's how to have a certain lifestyle. No, all of these different things. And I think it's really stripping people from their own intuition and what they know
Yes.
to be true to them. And no two paths are the same. So everyone does have to go and explore it on their own, and also with the guidance of somebody else that's walked that path before. So, for you, just going back to the journey and circling back to that a little bit, what was the catalyst for you to dig deeper into these emotions? Because not everybody wants to open up their feelings or dig into grief, for example. It's too big of an emotion. So,
Yeah.
how was it for you to go to those places?
I mean, plant medicine was like the moment where my perspective changed and realized that, okay, I need to go deeper. And there's a lot of talks about it because some people like are afraid to do it, some people are not. But there's really um, like if you're in the right guidance, if you're in the right place and the right state, you can really have like an awakening moment, or like a shift in your perspective. So for me, it's just that honestly, it was really about seeing how, when I went deeper into my emotions, how it affected my physical body and how I felt good after. And my symptoms were starting to heal. So it is that I mean, for me, this drove me to keep following this path, because people maybe don't understand, like, okay, what is symptoms. They normalize their symptoms, like, yeah, it's okay to have gut issues, it's okay to have bloating, it's okay to have back pain, shoulder pain, but it's no, like, it's not like you don't have to live with it. And we've normalized it because maybe we didn't find the solution yet. So for me, just feeling good in my body, and when I felt like, okay, because like it's like you're holding to this weight for years, and then you've dropped this weight suddenly. And what helped you drop this weight is going deeper into yourself and looking into these emotions. So I was like, why not? Of course, I'm gonna follow this path, right? And when you also do that, when you do that, also, like, you will realize that your perspective in life changes, and you stop looking at life in a rigid lens. It just widens, and you become more flexible. So it not only helped me on a physical level, but also mentally, and like just how I perceive life and myself. It really became much more wider. So a lot of benefits of doing that. So I saw the benefits, and that is, I think, what's keeping me on this path. Yeah.
That is really, really interesting because for me, plant medicine came at such a later stage on my journey.
Yeah.
It wasn't until very recently that I started to dabble in that space for a little while. And then now it's like, okay, I got the lessons that I needed and I don't feel the same calling to work with the medicine anymore. For now, at least, this is what I feel. And I would say that, yes, you do have to have a certain level of awareness as to who you are and what traumas you're dealing with. Because to go into a ceremony with very little awareness, with no prior work done at all, it can be quite a chaotic experience rather than a beneficial one. And also sometimes what happens is that people get addicted to these types of ceremonies, trying to go back and again and again and again, trying to fast track their healing. And really, how do we integrate these practices on a day-to-day basis without having to rely on something external to really rewire our internal world? And I feel like that's something that I came to realize when I went to these spaces and like just getting to know people and them telling me this is like their 100th ceremony. I'm like, if I'm gonna go to ceremonies and it's my 100th time, I better be floating on water. Or sorry, walking on water.
Yeah.
You know, I better be
Yeah.
walking on water.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't feel the need to take plant medicine. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, really, because maybe that was it. That was the moment.
It served its purpose then.
That's it. You know, you might need it once in your life, and that's it, just to awaken you. And there's actually a very good book called Psychedelic Integration by, I think it's Mark Axwell, and that's, for me, it's the most important book to read. So you can really learn about integration. Like, people say, okay, what is integration? Integration is just putting the pieces of puzzles together and remain grounded instead of like being lost in this, world of altered states of consciousness, right? So you just need to remain grounded instead of like keep chasing experiences, like you said. And I 100% agree. But I really don't feel like I need to keep chasing these experiences. I just appreciated that one, and I'm still integrating it till now. And so yeah, and not only that, like there's a lot of like, I would say, side effects for doing that. So, which is like not only chasing experiences, but like you have ego inflation, you're right? You have spiritual bypassing your emotions, bypassing your problems, your reality. So I 100% agree. And but for me, like, this book has to be read by every maybe facilitator or every person that has experienced this plant medicine. Yeah.
Exactly. I feel very similarly. It's you received what you needed from the experience itself, and you can always go back to that experience internally and remind yourself of the feelings that you experienced or the messages that came through. I keep doing that too in certain situations or certain moments. And I'm like, okay, like, remember what you felt there. Like, you can replicate it. You can, it's in your body. It's something that you experience. So I do agree. What I feel plant medicine did is that it did allow the clicking into place of these different parts of self and to create more coherence and more clarity. And it is a beautiful journey for many people. And at the same time, it's just being very discerning as to when it's becoming a bit of a crutch or a form of escapism. I just thought to touch upon that a little bit together because it was something that's been on my mind for a while, and I just felt like it was the right time to share this with people.
Yeah, but you talk about the journey, but I never like knew your journey, like because
Yeah.
you know, I've done a session with you, and
Yes.
to be honest, what got me curious to do a session, I didn't know what human design is, right?
Yeah.
But someone told me, or I think I looked at it somewhere, that actually a sin is not living in your design. So I was like, okay, human design, fine. Let's see what unfolds. And actually, after the session with you, I felt like I'm acting more in alignment uh, with myself and who I am, and I'm following the path. And I had like a breakthrough, and I had, you know the story, right?
You
And
can share it again. I know the story, but why
yeah,
not?
because once I had posted something on Instagram where it got really like 3 million viewers, right? And I was like showing this technique, and but I got a lot criticized by a lot of people, and a lot of negative things. Even though what I did was I was trying to explain it scientifically, but people didn't get it, and that has led me into like really, because I don't believe we are meant to receive that much, or maybe I didn't have the capacity to be seen that much. And it was like a lot of negativity. Most of the comments and most of the things it really got bad, and like threats and stuff. And I think it suppressed my voice, right? It closed my voice. And back then I was just acting small. And after the session with you, uh, I just felt like more empowered, and just break through that, and speak up again, right?
Yeah.
And I really like felt empowered. So I think that this is what you give to people. You empower them,
Thank you.
right?
Thank you.
And that's amazing. But I want to know, like, because we meet a lot of facilitators and healers and therapists in the space, but they never talk about their own journey. So I want to know more about also your journey. Like, I know that every journey, every awakening comes from pain, right? So and I want to genuinely understand, like, what is your story? What got you into doing what you're doing now? Because you're empowering people and you're helping people so much.
Thank you so much, by the way. And thank you for that testimonial in some
Yeah.
way. But I remember that session very well. And I also feel like every single person that I meet, I see the spark in them. And I'm always amazed at how everybody is so perfectly designed for what they came here to do. And it's like reminding them of those gifts that they've run away from. And that's the thing. I think a lot of us run away from what we're really good at because of certain traumas around that or certain experiences, whether it's our own, whether it's our ancestors, whether it's the collective as a whole that has experienced something. So when I do these readings, I find myself experiencing a lot of joy and a lot of peace. So that's why I do that and why I share human design. And
Because it has helped you as well,
it has
right?
helped me tremendously. I mean, my first reading with a Lebanese coach, actually, I cried. Like, it was the first time I felt so seen. And I felt like, whoa, there is a system. And I love systems. Like, I think I love the flow and I love the surrender, but I also love structure. And I love when things are explained a certain way and there's like a medium to work through. So because human design is very much like that, there's the energy type, but then there's authority and profile and all of these different things. And then you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And till today, I'm learning so much about my own chart. So there is so much to unpack when it comes to human design. And, one session is great, but the more you do it, the more you receive from the system. So that's also really special. It's very alive and it keeps things interesting for you, at least.
Yeah. What if you said about receiving? What if you stumble across people who don't receive?
Who don't receive the
Yeah.
message.
Yeah. Do they experience some resistance?
Yes, of
Does it
course.
happen?
Definitely it happens. I would say it happens sometimes more to people that are very much logical and linear with their ways of seeing things or themselves, or that are deeply conditioned. There's resistance to it because it's like, wait, like, I innately know that that's how I operate, but I've been conditioned to think that that's bad, or I've been told that that's not the right way. And in order to be successful, in order to be seen, in order to be heard, or whatever it is, to be worthy, actually, to be worthy of love, I have to operate so differently to who I came here to be. And it's like I'm trying to fit the mold of society rather than to move to the beat of my own drum. And if I allow myself to flow with that, what transpires is so great, and can I even hold the space for that? So this is why I say like it's so layered, because I worked with people. I've done up to 8 sessions with certain people, because you're unpacking things that they go and they explore with their therapists, and they come to me and they're like, this is like therapy. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like so surprised, because for them it almost feels like, it's supposed to be fun and games, but here we're touching on like a very sensitive point.
Yeah.
And it's opening up certain emotions in them that they've repressed or they've put to the side. So human design is really, really, really special.
It's interesting. You've touched on something. You said, I am worthy of love.
Yes.
And this is identity.
Yes.
So, and what I've learned is that every disease starts in the psyche, in the level of identity, and then the mind, and then the body, like the organs. If we really truly want to heal, there has to be a shift in identity. Because because your beliefs are your identity shifts your identity shapes your beliefs, and your beliefs shapes your behavior, right? So if there's no work on a level of identity, you might relapse. And it's very interesting, because when you mentioned when they see, okay, how can I act in alignment with the identity of I am worthy of love? And I can see how there's so much resistance around that, because of the conditioning. So this is very interesting, and this is what I experienced with you as well in human design. It's like you're showing them the truth of who they truly are, and it's so interesting.
It
Honestly,
is.
it's very interesting.
Thank you for bringing that up as well, because it is the intention. It's like, I want you to see that you are love, and that you are designed in such a perfect way, that there's a reason why these feelings have been with you, and how to work through it, and to not see fault in having big emotions, to not see fault with the way you felt as a child, or to not see fault in the way that you are shape-shifting and changing and desiring new things and new paths and new experiences. And to really allow yourself to rest in the being of who you are. And as much as human design is pulled from astrology, there is a lot of, astrology influence and Vedic philosophies and all of that. What I love about this system in particular is that you really return the power back to you. With astrology, as much as I love it and as much as I feel the influence of it in my own life, sometimes that makes me feel powerless. I am doomed because of XYZ. The planets were in a certain position. I was born under these certain circumstances. So this is why I am experiencing XYZ, right? Rather than saying, okay, like this is just the way that my energy is ebbing and flowing in the season of my life. How do I return back to things that make me feel good? How do I return back to state of flow, even if things outside of me are chaotic? This is currently what I'm experiencing right now. A lot of things are shifting internally. And at the same time, it doesn't feel like I'm powerless. It doesn't feel like I'm losing the plot completely, Like there's still something that is keeping it together in some way.
That's beautiful. Like it's so empowering. Also with the way you speak to yourself, the practices that you do, and it's so empowering. I think we need to empower people more, because people feel like at some point they become reliant. And if we really wanna like empower people, we should make them feel. We should let them see and take back their power. And this is what you do, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's also how I teach people. Like you need to. For example, when it comes to pain or symptoms in your body, you need to approach it with more curiosity instead of fear. So your perspective around that should be different. And, it's maybe hard to to see that, because we've been so conditioned by, you know, by the big pharmas and the health industry, that we need to take drugs, we need to numb ourselves, numb our feelings, and the body is working against us all the time, instead of like really following this law of acquiescence, and then really see that the body is always trying to heal itself, and really trusting the body more, and come back to it in a way that, okay, the way I see my symptoms, the way I see look into the sensations in my body, the pain is not from a lens of fear. It's from a lens of curiosity, from a lens of kindness. And once you accept that, once you learn to accept that, you grow your capacity to accept that, and you build resilience around that. It's so empowering, because you're just, you eventually, this what happened to me as well, eventually with this perspective, you learn that you have control, and then you can take back this control, take back this power, and then truly heal. And yeah, so that was the journey for me, and I want people to see that the same perspective as well, the same approach. This is, I think, how we need to approach health and our bodies these days, and it's so empowering. And I think also, like, what you do is also speaks from that place of empowerment. Right?
The people that I saw that helped me on my journey didn't see me as broken. And that was how I transformed and how I grew and how I believed in myself again. I feel like if you're on your healing journey, go to those people that see the light in you, that, okay, sure, we all have darkness, we all have those things within us, and they also can hold the space for that, and they can love that part of you too, versus like seeing it as this really like bad thing, or this thing that needs to be like removed out of you, or however it might be interpreted. I think that if you're on this journey, definitely discern who you want to source your healing from, who you want to go see, because there's a lot happening right now in this space, and not all is true light. A lot of it is false. A lot of it is pretend. There are so many people that are being treated as broken, and that when you're being treated as broken, you'll never feel whole. You'll never feel healed. I know my job is done a lot of the times when people don't come back and see me.
Yes,
Sometimes I'm like, they got what they needed, they received what they needed from this experience. And ultimately, I want people to go and like live their lives without having to check in every single month or every single week. Like, hey, this and that, like allowing people to really be their own beings. I think that's where we'll see a real shift in the way that things are done in the healing space, at least, because it's really turning into yet another capitalistic system where we're extracting from people, where we want them to be sick because then we can call them in and we can make money from it. Now, it would be ideal to be able to live and sustain ourselves without having, to put prices on our services, but we don't live in that kind of world yet. So I think that there still needs to be some conversation around this topic, because there is a lot of, extractive forces within the wellness industry that is operating in the exact same way as big pharma or all these big corporations. And that becomes a real problem. And I've been sitting with this a lot, but we've commercialized spirituality. We've commercialized God. It's like, hey, come to me to get closer to the divine. Like,
exactly.
what?
Exactly. I'm very glad that you touched on that.
Yeah.
And you just articulated in a way that I would never know how to do that. That's amazing. I just feel like it's like part of consumerism, right? It's like being part of consumer. Come to me and do this, do that, and people are like just buying. It's just like, and I feel like it's like we need to respect their soul. We need to respect their soul, because when you play the role of a rescuer, you're still in victim. because there's the victim triangle, you know, the victim triad. You're either a victim, a rescuer, or a persecutor. So you need to really step back from that, all of these roles, and operate from a place of empowerment, and really respect their like their give them dignity, give them respect, and empower them, because a lot of clients, they come to me and then they say, I did this session with this guy and or this woman, and I feel like there's something wrong with me. Like there's always judgment instead of like just learning how to hold space, ask questions, listen. They want to judge and they want to impose their beliefs, and they want them to live life the way they want. They need to realize how they want to live the life that I mean, that makes them happy, but on their terms, not on your terms.
Exactly.
So their reality is different than yours.
Yes.
And you need to learn how to facilitate that instead of imposing something on them. And that's like, I'm really glad that you touched on. It's beautifully said. Yeah. And people really need to be aware. Like they come to me also sometimes. I did 10 sessions with this guy, and okay, how do you feel? I mean, this guy is amazing, but okay, how do you feel? I don't care if this guy is amazing. How do you feel? Do you feel better? Is there a shift in your life? Is there something different? No, there's nothing. There's no depth. There's nothing. So, yes, I mean, it's nice if you find someone that you can connect with, that you feel good with, but also, is there a shift that's happening? Is there like, are you getting what you need? Are you getting results? You know, let's normalize results. And like you said, eventually, if they stop seeing you, then this is how you know that you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Or maybe the totally wrong thing, you know? It could be both things as well.
True.
And it's being humble enough to know that not everybody's gonna gel with you in particular, because it's just the way that things are, you know? You could be the best in your field, and some people are just not gonna resonate with the way that you approach
100%,
things.
100%.
So learning not to take things personally as a practitioner either, when things are not working out with certain people. And it is a very interesting thing right now when you see so many people that are going to these different healers or sessions or workshops or online courses. I came across a post the other day, and I've come to accept that there's a part of me that judges, and it's totally okay.
Yeah.
And I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah.
But I came across this post, and she's offering like a 12-week container, and it's a one-time payment of $22,222. And it's like, whoa. And it's to get closer to God. And I'm like, how fascinating. How fascinating is this? You know, yes, we do live in a world where we need to make money and we need to live well and all of that. And at the same time, like, sure, I'm sure there are people that can pay that. But then I feel like it creates this whole social class all over again in a space where everybody should be welcomed regardless. So it's just, it's been an observation of mine the last year. It's also redefining the way that I'm choosing to move and operate as well, because I did come from a background in finance.
Yeah.
I did work in a hedge fund for like 4 years in London. Maybe
Okay, I
that's
didn't know
a part
that.
of the story you didn't know.
I didn't know it. Yeah, of course.
And I got really badly burned out because it's not my way of operating to work a 9 to 7 job. I don't know, it could be other people's way, but it was definitely not the right environment, the right type of work. I learned a lot. I received what I needed. It allowed me to explore certain things like public speaking and moving through that obstacle and that challenge while being on the job. And it's also what allowed me to dig into like yoga teaching and health coaching and Reiki practices. And it was really special because I had both happening simultaneously. But then I reached a point and I got really sick. I got really, really tired. I was burned out for a year. It took me a long time to recover. And it was because I had seen resting as something that was for the wicked, that, you know, they say rest is for the wicked, rest is, you know, I'll rest when I die. Like there's all of these
Yeah.
different things. Like I'll push through illness, I'll push through this. And ultimately my body just completely shut down and I had to listen. So
Yeah. Rest is deemed as like a weakness, right? You're weak, you're unworthy if you rest, like something like that. It's all social conditioning. That's why people are restless.
yeah.
And so that was your pain, right? You've burned out. That was
I,
that was
I've
like the shift, maybe.
That was one of the
One of
shifts.
the shifts.
One of the shifts. And that's the thing on any healing journey, spiritual journey, self realization journey, you name it what you want, but there are multiple awakenings. It's not like a one awakening and then I'm done and I'll never awaken again. There are layers and layers
Layers
of
of
self to uncover. Even till today, when I uncover a new layer of myself, I'm like, whoa, what is this? Like, it's so new, it's so different. And it gets exciting.
Yeah.
It does get dark sometimes because it is a lot of repressed emotions, like the things that you deal with, whether it's grief, whether it's loss, whether it's separation, whatever it is that you're experiencing. And sometimes they come, and with time, at least for me, they've intensified.
Yeah.
But because my capacity to hold them has grown, you know, I think that that was the shift. It's like I have now the capacity to just hold more of this. And then the rise is even higher. So it's just trusting that that rise will happen, because it will, but not in the sense where you're dissociating from what you're currently experiencing and just giving yourself the space to really let yourself go through the motions of these different emotions that are deep. So yes, just going back to, you know, the first awakening in a lot of ways was when I started practicing yoga back in 2014. So it's been 11 years now. It's pretty wild to see how long it's been. It was right when I was about to graduate university, and my PT at the time became a yoga teacher. I didn't know back then that I was experiencing depression for so many years. It was kind of like hidden. I had managed to find ways to escape from it. But then through the yoga practice, I realized that I soared a lot inside of whether my psyche, my body, and my spirit was really like nudging me to wake up. And so the summer, right before I started to work corporate, I came across many beautiful books, including The Power of Now. And it took me a year to read that book, but I read it and I digested it, and my life started to switch. I paid attention to signs, things were coming my way, and my life shifted in gradual small steps. And that's the thing, a lot of people get very overwhelmed on their spiritual journeys or their healing journeys because they think that they need to resolve everything right now. And I felt that pressure, and it's a very heavy weight to carry. I can't solve it all right now. We're not just talking about my own individual self, because eventually you clear that out, you excavate everything from within, and then you realize there's always more, because there's ancestral stuff. And then you're like digging stuff from, you know, your grandparents.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God, now it's like a whole collective, my whole society.
Yeah.
Then you realize that what you're really experiencing inside is mirroring the experience of the external, the world is happening within me. So it is a never-ending journey. And it sounds super cheesy because you've probably heard this so many times, but there is no destination.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I really love that you also address that, because people sometimes get overwhelmed and they put pressure on themselves that they need to resolve these issues now, instead of just accepting where they are. And the way I approach healing is that it's how I approach it. Is whenever like you're driving a car, right, and there's a bumps on the road. You just have to slow down, and these bumps are like triggers, or you know, whenever you get overreacted or whenever you get triggered, and this is when you need to slow down, because if you don't slow down, the car will get damaged. So your body is gonna get damaged. So you slow down, you reflect, you do because things will come to your awareness, right? And you only resolve things that are coming to your awareness. It's much easier. And you don't put pressure on yourself. right? And then once you resolve that, then after the bump, you can drive again and enjoy your life easy. But it's like there's moments when you need to slow down and really go deep, and there's moments where you just need to keep going and enjoy life, and without like overthinking, right? And this is how I approach this healing. And for people like who resonate, I think it puts less pressure on themselves and just like accepting where they are now.
And I feel like that's the whole purpose of healing. You want to release the pressure of feeling like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And it's just be patient with yourself is so important. And I love the analogy that you shared about, you know, the bumps on the roads being these representations of these triggers, whether internal or external, how to be less reactive, practicing the pause. Like not everything needs to be done right now or said right now. Allow yourself the time to, like, you know, assess, discern, digest the experience before you go back out into the world and you're like, okay, you know.
Exactly. And the way I tell people, like, okay, when I get triggered, how can I stop overreacting? How can I create this space, this pause? And I always what I ask myself when this happens, okay, what am I afraid to lose? And when they can bring awareness to that fear, right, they can really pause for a second and step back and really see, like, okay, this is what I'm afraid to lose. If I can just shed more light into it and maybe let go, then they can really look into this trigger and give themselves some like space before they react, right? And self-regulation is also very important. We need to learn how to regulate ourselves, and not only in moments of dysregulation as well. Like whenever I'm dysregulated, okay, how can I manage that? How can I improve my capacity with it? And you said that, like, you have more capacity to hold any difficult emotions or any difficult things that come up into your body. So it's all about increasing the capacity to hold all the difficult sensations and emotions that arise, to be able to have more time to process, or more space in order not to overreact, right?
Yeah. It was such a
So,
beautiful conversation.
yeah, very beautiful.
And honestly, I feel like we'll pause it and continue this again at some point down the line. It's always such a joy to
Yes,
discuss
like,
these things.
it's
It's like
amazing.
time just flew.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing because every time we sit together, I just feel like we're really having this conversation. And usually when I go to podcasts, I get a little bit nervous, but now I just felt like it's so relaxing. It's
Yeah.
like we're catching up as we always do,
Yeah.
and we're just having this casual conversation.
I agree.
And it has been amazing. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for organizing this. And yeah, it feels like a regular conversation, except there's like a ton of light, a microphone,
Yeah.
a whole set, but it's like sitting in our, you know, living room or whatever and
Exactly.
just having a regular conversation.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're good. We finished on time
Yes.
because you gave and he's like,
Yeah, I was like, whoa, already?
I
can,
thought
like,
we had